Hi, I'm Rachel. In this tutorial, I'll teach you how to shade a 3D gate or door using the Color Therapy app. Beautifully shaded gates or doors make an inviting and intriguing coloring. I'll show you how to use lighting to make a gate look three-dimensional. Find this image by searching under the search box for magnificent gates. So I want to first start off by showing you this reference photo I found. It's really similar to the image that we're going to work with, so I want to sort of emulate what I see here with the shading at the top and then just using the beige and black colors for the bricks. So I'm going to start off by tapping to fill in everything with one gradient. So I'm going to use the Hopeless Romantic palette, set that to gradient, and I'm going to use the very last color. I like this color because it's a beige that fades into a light. So the gradient already does a little bit of work for us with the highlight in it. So I'm going to set it so it is a linear gradient with the darker color on the left side and just begin to tap to fill everything in. And then when you get to the right side of the image, just switch it so it's darker on the right side. Now the reason why I did that is because I've decided that I want my light source or the sun to be shining from the top left downward. So make sure you consider that as your shading. And then you want to tap to fill in the gate with a dark color. I'm using the second to last color from the Shades of Gray palette, Solid, and I'm just tapping to fill it in behind the gate. Now it's time to start shading, so let's go under the Classic palette. There's a nice sort of beige gray color that I'm going to use on the second row. It's the third color to the right, and that's Solid. Now let's use a spray tool. Set the size to 100 and opacity at 35. First, let's start by shading the whole side on the right, so turn off coloring inside the lines mode. Now we're just going to gently add some shading into the right side of the gate and on the wall, as well as the top of the gate too. So now it just looks a bit darker on the right side, as well as the top. Now turn coloring inside the lines mode to on, and then select the airbrush tool, set the size to 30 and opacity at 65. Now just zoom into an area on the right side of the image, and we're going to start to add in some detail shadows. So what I'm doing here is sort of just tracing around these bricks, making the right side a bit darker than the left side. I'm going to shade all the little embellishments and elements. And then for these outer bricks right here, I'm just sort of outlining them. So your goal is just to make it a bit darker than the left side. Raise the size to 65 now, and then continue to shade underneath those embellishments. You can go all the way on the other side, just make it darker on the right side. And then continue adding more shadows anywhere as needed. Let's switch over to using a basic black now. Let's set the size to 60 and opacity at 55. And we're going to continue shading. So I'm just basically building up these dark shadows. It's going to be really dark right behind the gate too, up against the wall. So just continue adding in those shadows. And then for more detailed areas, just lower the size to about 14. For example, I'm going to trace around the bricks at the top and the sides and just make those a bit darker. And then lower the opacity to about 25, and then we'll continue to shade the lighter bricks so it blends well. So I am shading all of the bricks that are the lighter ones too, just make sure that it's going to be lighter than the right side. And then just a tip for shading this area right here on the columns, any of the bricks that are facing upward are going to catch more light, so they're going to be lighter, and then the areas below that will be darker. And then for the gate itself, set the size to 8 and opacity at 80. And I would trace around the gate. This will give a 3D effect to it. And then for each of these decorative curves, you can shade them where they meet each other. And you also want to shade them right below where they meet the bars. And then use the smear tool as needed if you need to blend any of those lines and shadows so that they're more smooth. If you'd like to see more tutorials like this, don't forget to subscribe to the Color Therapy YouTube channel so you don't miss any new tutorial videos. Thanks for watching our tutorial. You can get the Color Therapy app for free on the App Store.